Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about Eco's first continent. But before we do, let's get into our pounds and inches segment. This is where we tell you things that we're trying to do to achieve better health in our life and things that we have done that have been achieving better health in our life. And today, guys, we had a huge parenting win.
Yes.
Our daughters came back from a siblings' Christmas party, and they had like lemonade and pizza and just all that stuff. Anyway, when they came home, one of the very first things that our eldest asked was, "Mom, can I have a salad?" Like, that's what she wanted when she got home.
What 6-year-old does that? Yeah.
Was a salad. And I was like, yeah, sure. And inside I'm like, yes! But it was just felt really good. I feel like you can cultivate your palate, and I feel like that we are, at least in some small step, achieving that with our kids.
Yeah, I mean, and they emulate what we do, and if we're eating salads a lot, they're going to want to eat salads a lot. It's just going to be normal for them to do that.
But enough about that. Let's talk about the game.
The game is Eco's First Continent. So this is a game where you're the players are taking on the role of, forces of nature, that you're shaping the world as if it had never happened in the first place. So you are rebuilding the world, and but rather than talk about it, let's show you what that looks like. So this is how the game starts off. You have one desert region, one grassland region, and some oceans. There all are alternative setups, but those are going to be for your second and third game. Over the course of the game, we're going to be adding new tiles. We're also going to be adding some mountain ranges and even some trees. However, there's also some cards and effects in the game that might, remove pieces from the game entirely or turn things into deserts. So keep an eye out for that. In addition to the landscape itself, we're also going to have the ability to control the animals that live in that habitat. But however, each one has its own restrictions. For instance, the fish and the shark, they have to be in water. There is a gorilla. He has to live where there's mountains, as evidence right there. Then we have the leopard, who has to live where there's trees. There's other restrictions, like antelopes want to be where grass is. But there's also people like the hippo that can live either in the grass area or in water. And they come in these really nice containers as well. So that's pretty cool. So how are you going to be doing all this world building? By cards, of course. So at the beginning of the game, especially your first time through, you can use these cards, and you pick out a little paw print there at the side, and you take all the cards of that paw print. And that's going to be your starting deck. And out of that, you can either choose 3 cards, or you can use the ones that have a little darker paw print as kind of suggested starting ones. Later on, once you're more familiar with the game, what you can do is you can draft cards from the decks. So that way everyone kind of has their own personalized deck, and they can kind of world build as they choose. Once you have your cards in front of you, each player is going to take turn being the harbinger. So they take this big nice bag, and they start pulling tiles out of it one at a time. When you pull a tile, what you're going to get is you're going to get a symbol. This one has those 3 circles on it. So we're going to check our tiles, or check our cards. If there's any of these symbols on the left there that match that tile, we get to place one of our energy cubes on that marker. However, in this case, we don't. So rather than just wasting your turn, you have your little start dial, and you twist it once. And we'll get to that, why that's important later. So you start pulling more tiles. This one shows us grass. Boy, we don't have that one either. Once we've turned a second time, this one says, right now at this point, you can either gain a new card, or you can keep on holding out for one better prize here in a minute. Alright, so now we've got a sun. This is something that we already do have, so we can put one of our cubes on that little sun marker. We'll pull again. Hey, it's the wild. So the wild is very cool. You can place it anywhere you want. Our little dial here, which happens to be upside down right now, tells us what's the most rare ones. So the animals we know are the most rare. So we're going to place it there just so we can make the most use out of it. However, once the wild tile's been drawn, all the tiles go back in the bag, and the play moves to the next player. And they are the harbinger, and they start pulling bags out of the tile. No matter whose turn it is to pull tiles out of the bag, everyone at the table gets a chance to, place one of their energy tokens on their cards, or turn their dial if they either can't or don't want to. The third time you want to rotate a card, now it says you can either gain a new cube, or you can play a card from your hand. So, Once you have, some of these larger cards that require a ton of symbols, you might have, almost all those cubes tied up in various cards that you're working on. So getting extra cubes from the box is really nice. And by the way, this little box is awesome. If, instead of grabbing an extra cube, instead what you can do is you can play a new card down, so that way you have something else you can work towards all at the same time. Now, when you complete a card, you're going to do a couple of things. You're going to do whatever the card says from the top down. This one says, place a manatee, gain a cube, and then gain a wild symbol, so you can place one of your energy tokens on any spot on one of your cards. Then you're going to remove all the cubes that were on it, and you're going to rotate it. There's leaves kind of here at the top. It shows kind of how many uses that each card has. So this one has 3 uses. Once you've rotated it, you spend it, do it again, rotate it, spend it again. Once there's only 1 leaf at the top, and you finish that card, it's out of the game. There's some things about the cards you should know. The ones with the kind of the orange, brownish backs here, those are generally ones that help with the world building. It might be adding animals, might be adding tiles, might be taking away tiles. The ones with the blue backs, those are generally victory point driven cards. In addition, they both have cards that have the green side and the brown side as well. The green sides are usually all good things for yourself. Gain victory points, add animal, add something. The red cards usually have some kind of detrimental effect on the board, but it's usually still beneficial for you personally. For instance, this one says, I can replace a water with a desert tile. So you want to try to have a strategy using this card that's going to involve that. But by there being a red card on the board, other players know, hey, we need to keep an eye on that. It might do something to affect my strategy. So you keep going around the board, you rotate your little dial, you grab more tiles, you fill up your energy cards, you rotate those, and we're all doing that simultaneously, and we kind of stop the play whenever one person's filled up a card, so that way we can finish resolving it and see all the effects. Once one player has reached 80 points, or 60 points if you're going to play a shorter version of the game, they have to announce that, and then what happens at that point is, you keep on playing until someone draws that wild tile out of the bag. At that point, the game is officially done. You add up your points, whoever has the most points wins. So even if you make, you're the first person to cross that 80-point line, you won't necessarily win because there might still be several rounds where someone can catch up to you and possibly even pass you.
The aesthetic of this game is really neat. I like the mountain tiles and the trees, but one of the things that we thought was the neatest part of it was on the tiles, the ocean tiles are literally thinner than the other tiles because the ocean is below the land and the grass yeah. And all of that. And I like just that little, just a little bit to where you can see that it's smaller. I thought aesthetically that was really neat.
I think thematically this game made a lot of sense, as far as certain animals can only be placed in certain places, and, trees don't want to grow in the desert, but unless there's a mountain there, because then they, then they want to grow where the mountains are. And so I just think that everything made sense, and it looked, phenomenal when it was all said and done.
I generally enjoy tile laying games, and I like this game, and you do lay tiles, but you're not trying to get patterns, and you're not trying to... I don't know, it's just different. It's different than other tile laying games. You might be trying to build something, like try to have a huge ocean or try to have 2 different oceans or something like that, but it just felt different than all the other tile laying games that I've played before, so I liked this take on tile laying.
I think that the turns go lightning fast when you're pulling from the bag. Everything's simultaneous, so, you pull one, everybody puts a cube down. It just goes really, really fast. However, there comes a certain point midway through the game where someone's, fills up one of their cards. So play just, screeches to a halt. And, you stop pulling things from the bag. They resolve that card, which isn't a big deal. But sometimes those cards will, give you more symbols to put on cards. So then you put those cubes on another card. And that might trigger that card to be finished. And then that might trigger, and then that trigger card might trigger placing an ocean and removing a bunch of stuff and them scoring a bunch of points. So... well, it's really fun to be the person doing that sometimes. Can be really painful to be, the person across the table from them having to wait for all that to happen. So as a result, I think that I prefer this at a lower player count. Especially in a higher player count game, maybe that person's going to do it, then another person might do that same thing, and then it might be 10 minutes before it comes back to your turn.
Yeah, I like that with the higher player count, you get to see a lot more things. You get to see, there's a lot more interaction that happens, but there's not as much control as well. When the first couple times we played this game, I had absolutely no strategy. I did pretty okay. And then I actually
She demolished me.
And then I actually had a strategy, and it kept like not happening over and over and over again, and it was kind of frustrating because you're like working towards these things, and when you have that higher player count, it just, yeah, I mean, I like strategy games with a little bit of luck, but the more people you get, the more luck is involved, and so the less strategy really matters. So I'm just gonna copy what Ryan said, and I enjoyed this at a lower player count.
Yeah, 2-3 players, it was a great time. This is one that we definitely recommend. You can play with the higher player counts if you want, especially if you like a little bit more chaos, and you might enjoy that.
Yeah.
But strategy is a little bit more our thing as far as long-term planning without getting...
Well, I like a little chaos.
Well, yeah. I prefer to have an engine-building game, and I really like the engine-building in this game. But there might be a situation where you're trying to create this big row of mountains, let's say, and you're prepared to do this big card that's going to get you a bajillion points, and then someone unearths that mountain from the ground as if it was, a speck of dust, and makes it into a water tile or something like that. And so the world building and the engine building might be taken away from you. So that can be a little frustrating too, but it's fun. As long as you know that going into it, yeah, you're not going to be you're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be upset. If you're planning on this being churning, getting bigger and better and bigger and better and bigger and better, just be prepared for some hiccups along the way. But if you can handle that, I think you're gonna have a great time with Ecos: First Continent.
Yeah, we did like this game. It was fun, and I think that many people out there would enjoy it. Well, make sure to subscribe to our channel, guys, because we have a giveaway coming up soon.
Ooh. And it's a game we've already talked about. A spoiler.
Yeah, it is. So watch all of our 88 reviews, and you can get a hint as to which one we're giving away. But yes, we do.
That narrows it down for you.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So make sure to subscribe so you can get more information about that when it comes out under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Follow us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. You want to follow us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1, and we're a bit more interactive there. If you want to see pictures of games we're currently playing, follow us on Instagram under Ryan and Bethany. And then lastly, if you want to kind of behind the scenes of how Ryan and I are trying to achieve better health in our life, follow our blog on Board Game Geek under Pounds and Inches.
All right, well, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.